Hey guys, Kelly here from Body Fit Solutions. What I thought I'd do today is a little workout that focuses in on those of us that are slightly on the more mobile side of the spectrum of flexibility. So you might be termed hypermobile, and you might have heard that term before, or you just might feel that in your practice you have very flexible limbs, your ligaments are quite a lot more loose than maybe people that are on the tighter side of the spectrum. So this is a workout to help gain some stability in the joints, to get a lot of feedback from the props that we're using, and to really focus in on some core activation, some weight bearing stuff, and some strengthening. So what I've got today is a slightly heavier tension. So sometimes you can get packs of flex bands, dyna bands that are in 3 tensions, and you get kind of a light, a medium, and a heavy. So this would be the heaviest side of tension. You can play with the tension, make sure it's right for you. So what I've done is I've tied that around my knees with my knees slightly apart. So I've just stood up with my knees slightly apart, tied the band with a double knot so that I've got some resistance when we start to do some leg work that way. I've also got a medium to light band that we're going to use more for the arm series stuff. And I have got a headlock for behind the head. I've got a larger ball, because some of you might have this type of ball. If you do have a larger ball, then I would recommend deflating it a little bit more so it's slightly more squashy. What I'm going to use today is a very small ball, so this is going to really help us activate into our tissue. I'm also going to just grab a bigger block so that when we're sitting and doing some of the seated work, then we're a little bit more comfortable. So I'm going to have one of those blocks as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on our backs, and we're going to be using the little small stability ball. So I'm going to place the ball just under the right foot, and I'm just going to start to apply some pressure here. And I want you to exhale as you bring the foot into the ball. Inhale, release. So just a light amount of pressure. And you might feel some activation in the back of your leg, but I want you to notice the sensation through your deep support system. So you might feel the wall of your abdominals just gently drawing in. That's good. We don't want to push so hard that the belly is actually bracing out. This is a very light, gentle press. Let's do 2 more. I'm just going to gradually increase the pressure there, so I can slightly feel a little bit more through the back of the leg and through the abdominal wall. So letting the pelvis stay really settled and balanced in space. Lovely. Then we're going to bring it over to the other side. So onto the left foot. I've got slightly more of the puffiness to the front, so I can kind of press into the ball slightly forward. So again here, we exhale. And feeling the breath go through the nose and into the lungs. And exhale, as the ribs melt, we're feeling that connection to the ball. And just to notice if it feels a little bit different on this side. My right side was quite strong. I'm not feeling as strong a connection on this side, so you might want to just note that. And I'm gradually putting a little bit more pressure here. Not letting the abdominals bulge out, so I don't want to put too strong that it starts to tense into the back tissue. And just one more. Lovely. Then we're going to move it up the body, so I'm going to place it between the knees. And if you've got the bigger ball, that's absolutely fine, you can use that as well. So we exhale and feel the connection of the ball here through the inner thighs. Inhale, release. Exhale, press. So this might feel a little bit stronger now. You might feel a little bit more connection into the center. So I'd say about 5 of these. Let's do 2 more. Noticing that you're not putting too much pressure into your back. I don't want to tuck the pelvis. Just want to keep it really calm and stable. Lovely. Now we're going to travel it up. I'm going to put the ball underneath the palm of the hand, and I want you to press into that right arm. So now we're waking up the shoulder joint. So we're moving up the body. Again, we're going to do a gradual press and then we're going to increase it. Notice how my wrists are long, so I'm not pressing kind of into a bent wrist position. So we want to activate a little bit more through the back of the arms and the back of the shoulders. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. So you're not going to see much here, but I want you to really feel your breath pressing, making sure we're not putting too much pressure into the wrists. It's like the whole hand is pressing down, the whole arm is pressing down. And I can feel some activation into my middle, so that's really important that we feel that connection. Last one. And then I'm going to finish with the head. Now make sure your ball isn't too big. So this size ball is going to thrust my head forward. I don't want that. Even if you just have a little cushion that you can put behind your head. But this ball is really nice because it gives me a little bit of neck support. So making sure that the eyes are pointing up and I'm not in a tucked position. I'm just going to exhale and gently press into the ball. So I'm applying that pressure down towards the floor. 5 of these. Notice the connection. And then with a little bit of pressure there, I'm just going to allow the head to rotate. This is a nice little mobilizing exercise for the head. I want to keep a little bit of that pressure so I don't fall off the ball. So keep that little bit of pressure. This is quite nice to start to work the stabilizers in the neck. And just do one more on each side. And then come back to center. I'm going to take the ball away. Now I want you to grab your flex band that you've already tied up. And we're going to place that so that the feet go through. And I've got band around the thigh. Now obviously if this band that you choose is quite strong, then you can always start with the lighter spring and then build yourself up, okay? So it's really important that you listen to your body and that you find the resistance that's going to work and connect you and not strain you. Okay, so I'm going to lie back down and we're going to work with more of the side rotators of the hips. So I'm just going to do a little leg drop, a little leg fall out, a hip twist. So I'm going to widen out into the bend without really letting the pelvis move very much. And exhale the other side. So just alternating sides. So I'm opening the leg out and back in, and just feeling the resistance into the band. So I'm not moving very far. Okay, it's probably moving about 30 degrees, 40 degrees. But I'm really being conscious not to roll the whole pelvis over. So this is nicely warming up through the glute tissue. I'm just going to do one more on each side. And then come back to center, arms down. Now I want you to exhale and just start to pick up the leg into tabletop. Really focusing on the leg drawing into the hip and back down. Exhale, plant the right foot as the left leg comes up. Inhale down. So I've got that feedback from the band. I'm trying not to lose the tension in the band where it just becomes very passive. I want to feel the tension as I raise the leg. And come back to your right side. As the leg is up there, we're going to start to do some leg circles. Okay? I want you to feel the band throughout the circle. So I'm going outward, down, inward, up. And I want to stay really stable through the pelvic bowl. Okay, so I'm not letting the hips roll with the leg. So we're containing the movement inside the hip. And let's do 2 more. Rotating as I'm breathing. And back in. Good, we're going to change it to the other side, same thing. And circle outwards, down and up. Okay, noticing the other leg, it might want to try and fall out to the side, but we're going to keep it nice and stable like you've got a teacup on the top of your knee. And this is much more challenging for me. I can feel the restrictions, the juddering. Juddering is okay, go with it. Okay, if you feel slightly shaky, that's absolutely fine. Lovely. going to finish here with a little bridge. If you do have a head block, take it away so you don't put pressure on your neck. And we're going to melt through the feet. We're going to bring them a little bit closer to you. So as you melt through the feet, just let the pelvis come up comfortably. Don't overwork it. We just want to check in though at the top that we're not bringing the ribs up towards the sky and working too much of the low back. So we just want to settle in so that the load is in the back of the legs. Now I've got the band slightly open and I'm going to pulse, widening the legs outwards, 2 and 3, and then you're going to softly articulate the spine down. I don't want you to force it, just want you to feel that spine unfolding back on the mat. And then coming up, coming into position, and pulse, and 2, and 3, and roll back down. So if this is hurting at all, or you're feeling your low back instead of your bottom, just maybe settle a bit. Make sure that you're reaching out through the thighs and that the sitting bones, your bum bones, are reaching out to the back of the legs, that you're not lifting up too high. And pulse. So this is nicely warming here. 2 and 3. And roll back down. Lovely. So I'm just going to do a nice little assisted roll up, but you can roll onto your side to transition. And we're just going to come up to kneeling just for a moment. So I just want you to come up and pop the ball here between your knees, and just to feel the sense of weight through each leg and find that sense of balance going up the body. We're just going to do a nice little mermaid stretch. So I want you to inhale to come up and exhale to go over. But I want you to feel that little squeeze into the ball as you go over so that we don't drop and overdo the stretch. So inhale out. So if you do have a tendency towards hypermobility, you're going to really love stretching. The problem with that is that the ligaments don't have any support around your joints. So what you end up doing is overdoing the muscles, overdoing the ligaments, and then you lack the support in the joints. And that can later lead to some pain and some degeneration in the joints. So we want to really focus on stability. Yes, we want to get range of movement. We want to work through the spine, but we want to kind of contain it just a little bit where we've got that support. So let's just do one more. Hopefully I did an even amount on both sides. And then coming back. Good, so just a little break there. Now we're going to work through the arms. So what I'd like you to do is take your lighter band, and I want you to lay it flat along the mat. So I'm just laying it out so that my shoulder blades can rest across it, trying to be as even as I can. Okay, so my shoulder blades are going to rest back on the mat, and we're going to work through the back of the shoulders. We're going to be doing some work through the shoulder blades. So you're not going to be able to see much movement in me, but I want you to really appreciate that we're going to be working the shoulder blades apart and together while we're on our back. So I'm going to take the band and be very mindful of wrists. So we want to be really supportive here. That I've got the thumb and the first finger holding my band, and then I'm going to stretch it up gently. I've got enough resistance that I can feel it, but not too much. And I'm going to let the shoulder blades gently slide around the ribs and then back towards the mat. Inhale around the ribs, reaching the arms up, not overdoing it that there's tension in the neck. And come back. So I'm really trying to focus around the shoulder blades at the bottom, where the band is going across. It's very much kind of around the bra line area, the bottom rib area. So I'm just feeling that work. And actually it's quite fatiguing for such a small movement. If we do it in the right place, this should really work the muscles around the back of the shoulder blades and into the side of the shoulder blades. And I'm going to keep the shoulder blades nice and flat on the back. And I'm going to bend the elbows into a little chest press. And you might lose some of the tension here, but that's absolutely fine. Pick it up as your arms reach up. So let's inhale out. And exhale up. Inhale down. I want to really feel like the elbows are pressing up towards the sky. Really working on my upper arm movement with the shoulder blades just being very aware that they're still on the band. And that I'm not overdoing the shoulder blades back to the mat and lifting the ribs up. And let's do a little single arm for 5 and 4. And I can really feel this through the muscles at the front, on the back of the arm. and up, and the other side, and up. So really working into some of those muscle groups that are going to help us when we're going into weight bearing in a moment. And 2. And 1 more. And return. Good. Now, I want to try and keep my band there as best as possible so that I can come around into all 4s. Okay? Now this is a really great series. We just have to be mindful of wrists, that they're nice and spread open, and that you take a break when you need to if it's becoming too much. But we really want to try and develop some strength in the wrists. So when you're in this all 4s position, I want you to push the ground away and really feel your legs. So we're just going to go back to the legs, back up to the arms, back to the legs, back up to the arms. I want to feel that my legs are supporting my weight just as much as the upper body. So I want you to just round the spine, focusing on the low back, and just feeling that little stretch in the band. And then to come back, but then you can notice whether you collapse or not. So we want to keep a little bit of tension in the band as the spine goes back out. So we're going to exhale, inhale, stay, breathe into the band. Exhale, lengthen. Notice the belly wall. Does it sag to the floor? Or can you keep it supported very gently like we felt in the activation at the beginning? And exhale. Inhale into the band. And return back. 1 more. Exhale to flex the spine, tail down, and without losing the support through the back of the shoulders, and just take a break off the wrists. If you're finding that your band is getting a little bit crumpled up, reset it, make sure it's nice and wide still across your shoulder blades. So coming back up, this one's a little bit more challenging. We're going to tuck the toes under, and as I feel the shoulder blades are on the back and they're not collapsed and the head is lengthened, the spine is long, just going to do a little hover of the knees, really tiny, and back. Feel like your upper arms are slightly rotated outwards, but we're not locking out through the elbows. And lift. So we don't need to go high to make this quite a lot of work. I'm going to be feeling the back of the shoulders really connecting, really focusing my attention into the band and that feedback from the band. And let's just do 1 more. And return. Good, now we're just going to come up to here. Now I've got the band here. Now you can either go kneeling or you can come to sitting on your blocks, whichever is more comfortable for you. And I've got the arms angled out in this direction. So I've got the shoulders more open, the elbows dropped, and I'm in a slightly turned over. You can see how my hands are slightly forward, they're not directly to the side. If I went too far back, I'd lose my band. So I just want you to breathe out and send the arms away. Inhale, come in. So I'm feeling from the band, I'm reaching out almost into the baby finger side of my arms. So this is starting to strengthen again. Now up through the top of the arms. Just be aware of your breath. So the breath out moves the arms. Inhale in. Let's do 1 more. Keeping that arm span. And you can notice that my arms aren't going completely straight because I lose the tension. And we're just going to do a little spine twist. Inhale back to center, spine twist the other way. It's really just the upper back. I don't want to twist the pelvis, and come in. If you're finding you're twisting your pelvis quite a lot, then I would go to sitting cross-legged and work this pattern. So we can go to here. Okay, and then I go into the rotation, back to center, back to center, and return. Good, let's do that 1 more time. So stretching out across the back of the shoulders, rotate, back to center, rotate, back to center, and return. Now it's up to you, it depends on your strength. I find that the small band sometimes is enough tension, but if you're quite strong through your legs, then you might want to find the heavier band. I'm just going to do the light band today. So what I'm going to do is tie a loop around my foot, and make sure you double knot it so it doesn't slide off. Okay, and we're going to go into a side lying position, and I'm going to hold the band here. Obviously, the further down you hold, the tighter it is. Just make sure that's nice and secure and not going to hit your face. So you can either prop your head up under your hand, or you can go into a side lying position. So I'm going to have some tension here. Now I want to have tension when the leg is bent. Okay, so when I come to tabletop here, then I'm going to press it out, reach the leg back. Inhale in, and exhale back. So I want to feel the stretch in the front of the hip, or feel at least that the front of the hip is able to extend, so when your leg goes back, you can feel the back of your leg in your bum. So it should start to be feeling some work here. Good. Notice how I'm sending it slightly higher up, but feel free to keep it parallel wherever you feel that you're working. And I'm slightly trying to take it behind the hip if I can, as long as the back doesn't move. So I want to use the breath to stabilize. Let's go 2 more. I have no idea how many we've done. We want to do about 10 of them. And then as you get out there, I want you to lower and lift and lower and lift. Now this is going to really work the side part of your bum. If you're working a little bit too much through the front of the thigh, try and soften the front of your thigh and think more about reaching the leg through the center. That's really burning nicely for me. And 2, and 1, and release back in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this on this foot. So I've got it on my left foot. And I'm going to come back up to all fours. And I'm going to put the band into my right hand, and I've got the knee on the band so it doesn't fly into my face. We're going to do a little opposite arm and leg. So again, I just need to check in the tension. I don't want it too much here. So it's going to be quite slack when it's on the floor, and then it's going to build up in tension as I go. So let's really check in with the wrists, making sure we're connected. And I want you to stretch arm and leg away. Inhale in. Now this is a lot of work for the wrist. So if you're building up to that, that is absolutely fine. You can just do the leg. Okay, so you can have the support through both arms. And then when you get a little bit stronger through your weight bearing, then you can add the arm and the leg. Let's just do 2 more. And return. Good, now I've got that nice little loop. I can just slide it onto the other foot. So let's get nice and comfortable on the side, making sure that we've got, when the knee is bent, I've got some tension there. Obviously, if that feels too light, go to the heavier tension as you get a little bit stronger. So arm down, arms forward. Just be careful in this position that we don't kind of slump. So I would prefer to have that or a head pillow. So let's inhale in, exhale out. Now I'm really using that bottom leg, and I didn't say that on the other side. I'm pressing a little bit into the floor with the bottom leg and sending the leg slightly forward on the bottom leg to help counteract the top leg reaching back. I want to check in that the pelvis isn't moving. It's staying really stable. We're not going into the low back. We're really concentrating on the leg, feeling the resistance from the band. Let's do a few more. Exhale 2. Exhale 1. Stay there. Let's do our lower and lift. And up. And down. I want to keep that space. Keep the leg away from me in space with staying stable through the pelvis. And 2. That's burning nicely. And 1. If you want to challenge it at the end, we can do some little circles. I didn't say that on the other side. And release it down. Good. And just have a little breather. So you should feel that around kind of the side of the bum. That prepares us nicely for coming up and doing some of our balance work. So I'd like you to, and you might want to do this not on a squishy mat so that you're on the floor and it's a little bit more of a stable surface. So we're going to put the ball between the ankles. We're just going to do a little rise and lower. I might just come over here so you can see what my feet are doing. So I'm I'm going to roll up through the feet, and then I'm just going to tap the heels down just a little bit. Rise up, tap down, rise up. We're going to do 10 of these. This is building endurance. Good. From the front, I want to make sure that I'm nice and supported here. You keep going. So I'm not swaying back and forth. I want to go right vertical, little tap. And this is working nicely through the back of the legs. So if we've done about 10, ooh, lost my balance there, lost my focus. Keep that squeeze. Good. And 2. And 1. Now we're just going to travel the ball up. So now I've got it between the knees, and we're just going to do a little squat. So letting the arms reach forward and the bum sit back. Now I want to sink the pelvis down heavy, let it push back light. Let's make sure we're not tipping too far forward in the upper body. Okay, so if that's your range of movement, that's great. I want you to imagine there's a band behind your knees as you come up. So we're not going beyond the band, but we're really feeling that we're kind of connecting into the back of the legs a little bit. So I'm using the arms just to counterbalance. And 2. Lovely. And 1. And up. Good. Now we're going to just go into a slightly wider stance, a little sumo squat. So focus on the upper leg rotating rather than too much of your feet. And we're just going to go down. Push up. And down. Push up. Notice your ankles. So can we watch and avoid the ankles rolling in? Okay, so feel like there's a little sponge underneath the arch of the foot. And up. And down. And up. Now I want you to hold. We're going to lift one heel and down. Lift one heel and down. So this is really going to be working into the muscles of the leg just to hold us here. Let's do one more on each side. Whew, I'm feeling that. Now let's try both. Now it's a little bit harder for the balance. If you're not quite there yet, stay with the singles. It's just 2 more doubles if you can. And then we're going to put it together and come up. Good, so let's bring it back to more of a parallel position. And we're going to go squat, heel lift, press up, roll down, squat, heel lift, press, back down. This doesn't look like it's challenging, but it's very challenging. So you might find that there's a lot of instability. So if that's the case when you do this, you can have the ball between your thighs, or what's nice with our band here is we can go into the squat. You can keep going if you're happy. So now I've got that abduction. Now this works much nicer for me. I can have a little bit more stability now. So this is a much better option for me to be able to do this little roll through the feet. And up, stand, and down, and down, up. Let's do one more. So we want to do about 10 and really build some endurance here. And then let's finish with another 10 little rises. 9. Breathe in. 7. Feel that connection up the body. And 5. And 4. And 3. Watch your ankles are splaying out. 2. So I'm on my big toe. 1. And bend it out. Lovely. We're just going to finish with a little lunge sequence. So I'm going to face sideways so you can see. We're going to stand with the right foot. I'm just going to slide it along. I'm just going to do a little bend, slide, and back. Then the other side. Slide, little lunge, slide, and back. Now if I face front, what we want to make sure we're avoiding is kind of collapsing through the legs. So you might find even here having the band around the knees will help to keep that connection to the outside edge of the legs and prevent the knees coming in. So feel free to use that. And down. And slide. So now I want you to add a little lift. Down, lift, return. Lift, lunge, lift, return. So a little bit more of a ballet balance exercise. So you might not be able to do the lift if you're doing the band option, but just stay with your foot on the floor. And down. And back. And down. Lift. And back. Lovely. Now we're just going to finish on the floor in an elbow plank position. So this is really just to kind of finalize our little strengthening through the abdominals. I would suggest to stay on the knees for this. It's hard enough as it is. So what I do is come down into the forearms and then just slowly bring the pelvis into position. We have a slight tuck of the pelvis, and then the navel is lifting up, the chest is expanding. I want the shoulder blades to be down the back. I want us to be aware of our band that we had around the shoulder blades, and I want you to breathe and hold. Start with 10 seconds. If you're finding you can't stay to 10, that's fine. Go as far as you can towards 10, and then have a break. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, I'm going to tilt the pelvis. So the pubic bone goes forward, my navel goes up, the chest expands. I don't want to be in the plank hunched. I want to feel really connected up the abdominal wall. Breathing. Holding for that 10 seconds if you can. And come out. Let's do that one last time. Tilting the pelvis. Coming into that lengthened position. Navel lifting up, chest expanding. My shoulder blades are connected down the back. I'm thinking of the band work that I've done before. And you return. And let's just come into a little shell. And then slowly coming up. Checking in how your body felt. You should feel warm. You should feel connected through all the joints of the body. And this is a practice that you should at least do 1 a week. If you are hypermobile, I would suggest that you do 2 to 3 times a week. If you're coming to classes with us, then obviously integrate this into some stuff that you do at home. And hopefully you enjoyed that. Thank you.